then the interim government we're talking about can do this pretty quickly. I think within a matter of a week or two, people will probably be getting announcements about these devices and a schedule that they will have worked out on when they can be introduced and how they'll be introduced.
Right. So is all this equipment already being held on the motherships?
It's really, a lot of this is hidden technology that the U.S. government and a lot of other major governments have had access to for decades.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
when they talk of healing chambers, are you saying then that they would be built here on Earth?
Right, they already have things like that down in the underground bases. The amount of technology that the U.S. government or the secret government, whatever you want to call it, has in its underground bases around the world is ridiculous. It's stuff that it would be released would change medicine. We wouldn't have to worry about any major diseases anymore. They would help us to understand how to get around much faster because we would be able to literally zip from one place to another by beaming from point A to point B. We would have all kinds of other technologies. We'd have megaliths, which is anti-magnetic transports that could carry any kind of thing you wanted, any kind of material from point A to point B, and not in a matter of days or large amounts of hours, but a couple of hours anywhere on the planet. So this stuff is there. I mean, flying disc and other things related to it, and it also includes the power source we're talking about. You have an unlimited free energy power sources that they could release. It would solve all the energy. The oil crisis would be over probably in a matter of months, which is probably how long it would take to get out to people. And that would be gone. Also, the problems about aircraft would be gone because when these craft crash into one another most of the time, nothing really serious happens. They bounce off one another. Or if they do crash, it's usually not too serious. It's usually people walk away with no problem. So the problems that we now have with aviation, the difficulties that we are having, especially here in the States about air traffic controllers, et cetera, and all that stuff, would be gone. And the other thing is just about anything you want to think of that's a problem or a difficulty on this planet at this time, from power to the problem of needing to recycle all kinds of waste to the problem of pollution, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It can be solved almost instantly. It'll just be a matter of the time needed to manufacture devices and distribute them. Right.
That's wonderfully encouraging. Again, another question relating to a subject I think that you brought up before. Somebody's asking if you know now what the value of the new rainbow dollar will be in relation to the Federal Reserve dollar.
Well, they're originally going to use it as a quid pro quid because that's the easiest way to do it, even though it would be technically because it's a hard currency. And with gold at $1,000 an ounce U.S., it would be much, much more. But that we don't have to worry about right now because they want to just get it distributed initially. So it'll be 1 for 1, 10 for 10, or whatever.
Yeah. Now, for quite a long time, there have been reports floating around saying that the new rainbow currency has been already delivered to the banks. Is that correct?
I have a feeling it may not be because they've had to do a lot of things with it since a lot of people reported that. That may have been done a little while ago, like a year ago, but I don't think it's happened right now because of all the changes that have happened in the last year.
Yeah.
So I will give an informed guess and say no.
Right. I bet your guess is probably nearer accurate than anybody else's. Right. Really a final question here relating to that conference or seminar that someone was present at. They're asking, will there be any meetings with any of the Galactic Federation personnel with light workers before first contact actually takes place?
Some selected people may, on one of the scenarios, may be allowed to have actual complete contact. What will happen and how things go depends, of course, what comes down the pipe when this thing actually starts to happen. So I will say there's a possibility and leave it at that.
Right, okay. That's fine. I've got a little rows of questions here lined up for you. Right, I'm looking here. apparently, now I'm sort of jumping forward to the time when we're clearly going to be well prepared for Ascension, and there's some intimation that it will take 2 days to fully activate our DNA. And I think you said at the time that we would end up in that event looking about 25 years old.
Right,
Is
yeah,
that
20
correct?
to 25. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, did you get that?
Yeah, I got that.
Right.
Well, yeah, well, once we finish our metamorphosis, we'll be fully conscious beings, so we have regenerated ourselves into looking like when we were a lot younger, and included with that, we will also have some differences, which is our eyes will be a lot bigger, because
Yes.
we'll be taking in more energy, and other little minor changes, size of our ears and where they are on the side of the face. Be slight differences probably, but that'll be it. You really won't notice much of anything, probably except for the eyes.
Right.
Of course, you'll be a lot taller also, but
Yeah. No, that will be a rather strange experience, I guess, to see or sense that oneself is somewhat different. But it would be nice to be 25 again.
it sure would. We both know that.
Yes, indeed. Now, there was a talk at some times that the metamorphosis, and I think I've got this right, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, would take place within a relatively short time after first contact. Can you put that into context in a sort of time?
Well, they're talking about probably about 4 to 6 months after contact will happen.
Yeah. Well, that's very quick, isn't it?
To me, that's like lightning when people don't realize how fast 4 to 6 months can go by. I mean, I've been in this place less than that, and it seems like I just came here yesterday, so I understand how quick that is.
Yeah. So does that read correctly that in the last few years, which I assume, will take us up to 2012, we will already have established a position where we will already have full consciousness?
What was that at the end?
Yeah. Does that interpretation of that mean that the last few years we spend on the Earth, that is leading up to 2012, when I believe it's generally accepted as being the Ascension period, that we will have already reached full consciousness on the Earth?
That's right. We should have way before 2012 if all goes as is planned right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I rather suspect that it's not that long off, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, aren't we all? Yeah. Well, most of us anyway. Yeah. Just a thought dropped into my mind, Sheldon, talking about the funds. Has this Wantergate fund anything to do with that?
No, it has nothing to do with it.
It hasn't.
No, it is. It's a thing that is something that's being helped, but it's not really a part of these funds because the one's based on the World Trust and the other one's based upon something out of the U.S. Treasury initially.
Right.
It's a whole different game.
But presumably, when that is recovered, it would go into the pool, as one might say.
Well, it'll go into whatever the fund is that person has, and what he was instructed to do will then happen. So he's kind of independent of the whole game right now. The funds we're talking about are there, and then there's this Wanta thing. So it's actually two different things.
Right, that's brilliant. Okay. I'd like to jump onto a different subject now regarding your visit to the inner Earth. You said you covered it all very quickly, but did it leave you with much impression as to what it is like?
As far as impressions, every time you go down there, the first thing you will feel is that it's so much more beautiful than the place up here which we're used to. Yeah. And when you see the cities, they are incredible because there's these flashing multicolored crystals, and everything there is so gorgeous. I mean, the trees are really vibrant, the grasses are vibrant, the bushes are vibrant, the forests seem bigger. It's just beautiful. And of course, the sun is a little different. You have this like diffuse light sun, so the shadows are not as strong as they are here on the surface world. That's the first difference that you notice.